All right. Hello. We are live. Today is June the 12th, 2025, and this is DLP episode number 8, guys. Welcome into the stream here. If you guys haven't subscribed, click that subscribe button down below and smash the like button as well. Thank you for joining in today. We are going to be talking about Ron Killings, aka R-Truth, Money in the Bank aftermath, and a few other things today, guys. Right, still a lot of news going on in the wrestling world over the last couple of weeks. Again, how's it going, guys? How's it going, everybody?
Doing good, man. Glad to be here. And yeah, for sure, people hit that subscribe button. I mean, there's like so many times people are just like, when are you gonna talk about wrestling? And it's like, well, if you subscribe and turn on notifications, you'll know when we go live.
Yep.
But not taking up too much time though, because we do have one of our other hosts who graces us with his presence when he's not busy with OnlyFans.
Right.
I'm just kidding.
Only something. Fans only.
Only pans.
Here, we'll turn this off for now. There we go.
Awesome. But yeah,
right.
Interesting day.
What's up? What's the first subject? What's the first order of business?
Well, I would like to maybe talk about how good Worlds Collide did, right? If you guys didn't watch on Saturday, right? WWE had its first cross-promotional event with AAA, right? Which, was mostly, a little bit of NXT and some of the newer talents, right? But what were your thoughts on that? If you guys got to see it.
I only saw a few highlights,
but
I've heard that it was an okay show. It's pretty good.
Yeah, overall, I think the show, as of yesterday, I haven't checked today, but it had over 1.5 million views. And while I was watching the event, I think I saw a max of like 500,000 people watching like at the same time. So I was like, man, they're doing better than, Dynamite and Collision, on YouTube over here,
It seemed pretty legit, man. I'm kind of like I'm hoping that this brings out more of cross promotions. I think it's a good thing, and obviously the response is because I'm watching closely and I'm seeing what people are talking about online. So it's for the most part it's more positive. So. Yeah, I just seen a few clips from it. I didn't even actually get to watch it. So much going on, but I'm excited for future promotions and more crossovers, and hopefully, in time the crossovers will reach deeper into it with the flagship shows. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, and again, right now, WWE doesn't officially own AAA. I know that they're still not completely there yet, but I think this event did really well. I don't know if we're going to see future events like this throughout the year, right? Maybe this was just a one-off for this year, just for them to experiment as far as that goes. But again, you had stars like Lola Vice from NXT. You had Stephanie Vaquer, who obviously just came up on the main roster, who again they were wrestling against, again, a lot, I hate to say it, right, a lot of no names to me because I don't follow AAA. But the one person that I do know a few characters, but the one person that stood out above the rest in this in this event was that green guy, Iguana, I guess.
Yeah.
A lot of people really enjoyed the look of him, and they even ended up, because he was so over at the event, they ended up inviting him over to the pay-per-view Money in the Bank, so he was out there in the crowd. But I thought that was crazy, and I'm seeing a lot of articles going around that he wants to WWE does want to sign him, like to their their main platform. And I don't know, what do you think? You think he's going to sell a lot of shirts and merch, or what?
I mean, the luchador, Mr. Soccer became luchador.
Have him feud with Santino Marella
in TNA. Yeah, that would be
crossover. The TNA crossover. It could happen.
It could happen. You're definitely right.
For sure.
But, he got over. A lot of people were enjoying, the character, watching him on TV. Again, I really didn't pay attention too much of the match that he was in, because I think it was like an 8-man tag or something like that. And when I see 8-man when I see matches like that, at this point, I'm just like, oh, bathroom break, or I'm gonna go make food or something like that, just because, like, I mean, they're very fast paced, and if you're there watching it live, they're fun to watch live. But if you're watching it on TV, it's like the opposite, because I think for me, what ruins these type of matches are the camera angles. Like, I think WWE just gets a little too crazy with their camera angling now. I just miss the big wide shot that they used to do back in the day, and like in the late 90s, where you would have different camera angles, but only when something was happening like outside of the ring. Now it's like you have like 5 different camera shots in the ring, so that kind of gets for me. But again, we had our WWE's own Dirty Dom also show up to the event, right, which led to an intercontinental title match, and everyone knows that everyone knows that Dirty Dom is pretty much like one of the top over guys in WWE right now. It doesn't matter if he's a face or heel. People just like watching him.
Do they let him talk, or do they still boo over him?
I think when he threw out the challenge at the AAA show, they were letting him talk, but they were still, a lot of them were still booing. So it's like half and half, where people are cheering and some people are booing. But for me, it's like, okay, this is pretty cool, because like his dad was at the first Worlds Collide in 1994, I believe.
Yeah.
And for for his son to be there
in AAA.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think even Shawn Michaels was at the original Worlds Collide, so I think they took a picture of him and one of the original wrestlers there that I think he works for the AAA promotion. So I thought that was pretty cool. But overall, like, whatchamacallit, the event overall was solid. Chad Gable versus Vikingo was a solid main event. I really thought that they were going to give Chad Gable the win, honestly. I would have loved to see him going to win the championship, and then just like have him go back and forth, between AAA guys, come onto the main roster, just to have a match here and there, just so that we can kind of familiarize ourselves with some of the characters, right? Because again, like not a lot of us are familiar. I mean, Vikingo, yes, because he was in AEW, and he wrestled a lot for GCW, doing those dumbass death matches, or whatever you want to call them. And then but to finally push them over, like, I just think it would be a good idea for them to have that, right? And also, like, I'm curious, okay, once WWE and TKO fully have that partnership, right, are we gonna see maybe a separate show, maybe not on USA or something, right, but maybe like or maybe they keep it on the same channel. I don't know what channel they even show it on.
They could excuse the background talk. Yeah. No, they're gonna probably keep their partners they have in Mexico now, Telemundo, Televisa.
I can see that.
They go through. Yeah. And then they could probably find a streaming deal with, how they did the thing with Tubi Evolve. They can find something like that with someone else.
That's true. Sure. I haven't even given Evolve a chance yet, if I could be 100% honest.
The streaming money is there, man.
Yeah.
I think they could make some great money just off of AAA and the legacy. They just got to make sure Conan stays, because he knows what he's doing.
Speaking of streaming, just to kind of throw this out there for everyone that's watching, right, the whole 3 people. Shout out to all of you guys, by the way. I don't know if you guys heard this down the line, but NWA came to an agreement with Roku, I believe. So you might be seeing some, more wrestling, more free wrestling, right? You know what I mean? Yeah. Because again, a lot of people have Roku TVs. A lot of people can't afford cable, right? So, they're going to end up on there somehow, some way. I just don't know exactly, maybe on the Roku channel or whatever. But we'll be seeing that very soon. And, again, it's a great time to be a wrestler in 2025. There's so many options for talent to, be going, not just WWE, right? But, you have so many promotions out there that are willing to book people and just get people over. So excited about
that. That's some pretty exciting news there. Definitely, for sure. Going back to the whole thing with Chad Gable, I think when it comes down to Chad Gable and luchadors, he's going to continue to have the bad luck situation. Yeah. I didn't see him winning. Now, if it was El Grande Americano,
isn't that what he did? He used to shush people.
Oh, the shush.
I think that's where it will more likely go. And at some point, for the future of Chad Gable, I actually do seeing if they were thinking at any time in the future of him flipping, it would be his respect and embrace for the luchadors, because that's the whole reason why he's in this pickle right now. Chad Gable can't beat a luchador, but El Grande Americano can, and we know it's the same person. So that's where I see it going. But I love the angle that's going. My daughter hates El Grande Americano. Like she says the mask, the way that they have the mask laid out and the colors makes him look just idiotic, and I'm like, that's the point.
Yeah.
The point's not to make him look like like a feared luchador. He's kind of mocking it. But I like the angle. I like how it's going. I love how Chad Gable's just really trying to just get people to be like, I'm not El Grande Americano, but he comes out with his mask on, wearing Chad Gable boots. This is the little subtle things that happen. It's just like
the mannerisms, right? It's like, okay, but and Michael Cole, I don't know if you guys watched Money in the Bank, right? We're going to get into that, but they kind of name dropped Chad Gable when it was Grande Americano in the match. So he was like, "Oh, Chad Gable, off the top rope or something like that." I'm like, And then I think you can also buy the mask on WWEshop.com now. And apparently when you receive it, it says Chad Gable mask or something. So I don't know if it's like an inside joke or what. But
it is. It has to be. Because, I mean, they know that the fans aren't stupid. Yeah. We know who it is. But on a side note, I should probably buy that mask and start wearing it around the house with my daughter's home to piss her off. She hates it. She really hates that mask. But, above all things, just kind of like wrapping up, the Worlds Collide. I mean, Dominic Mysterio being there, and I think that was, storyline wise, we know he's a heel. Judgment Day, and struggling for power over the Judgment Day. Like, we get all that. But in the reality of things, he's really putting the spotlight on there. Like him being at the show and then issuing the challenge for Money in the Bank. I mean, that was a great way to just kind of, just connect them all together. So. Big shout out to Dirty Dom and his push in the luchador scene, and to get more exposure for them. Like, that's
plus
something
also
that
him being the Intercontinental champion. It's like, what is the point of being the Intercontinental champion, right? You're going to be competing versus people of other cultures, right? Not just Americans. Which I feel like WWE has kind of fallen off when it comes to the Intercontinental champion, because I think that's something that AEW does a little bit better when it comes to their international, or whatever you want to call it, title. But they need to kind of focus more. Okay, hey, we're doing more. We're okay. Let me get Mill Hustle's back in here. We're doing more international shows. So
the final boss,
TFB,
final boss of OF.
Demonetized. Not just kidding. We're not even monetized. But yeah, basically what I was saying is that WWE does need to do a better job. That WWE does need to do a better job of the Intercontinental title and representing it like in other countries when they go to other countries.
Yeah, well, I mean, they literally, the Intercontinental title has fell way off, from what it was, back in the late 80s, early 90s, and now it being, the mid-card title.
Who is the Intercontinental champion right now?
Yeah, it's
Dominic. Dirty Dominic.
Oh, that's right.
Dominic, dude.
Now, I tell you what, though, I like him as IC champ, but they really dropped the ball giving it to Becky Lynch. She don't need it.
All right.
That's going to obviously upset fans, the smart ones. It's like that. They should have kept that belt.
When is she going to be the fourth man of Seth's group? That's what I'm waiting for her to be the fourth man of Seth's little group. What do they call themselves anyways?
They don't have a name yet. I don't think they have a name yet. No.
Paul Heyman.
Oh, Paul Heyman. I get it. Yeah. I get it, but no, I don't think that they don't have a name for it yet. I think there will be a fourth.
How about Vanish? That should be their name,
right?
Yeah, man, they should not have given that belt to Becky. Yeah. She don't need it. She's a veteran, man.
Yeah,
I'm starting to think that sometimes these characters are really how they are in real life. You know, douchey, annoying.
Well, I mean, there's that, and there's also the possibility because, like, you know, no offense to Lyra Valkyria fans out there, but when she captured the Women's Intercontinental Championship, the same opinion that I have for Jey Uso's World Heavyweight Championship, it kind of falls there. Like, it didn't start to pick up with me until she was getting towards that feud with Becky, but even then, that was kind of too late. Like, I always thought that her title defenses and her story she was given were just a little vanilla.
Let me bland. Go across the board. Chelsea Green, I thought was a good U.S. champ, and then giving it to Zelina Vega, that was cool. That was cool because they're both, you know, I mean, they're both, they're not like spring chickens or nothing, but they haven't been in wrestling for that long. You know what I mean? So that was okay because they're upcoming, especially in WWE. So.
Yeah, that made more sense, you know. Giving it to, you know, I mean, I don't know if they're doing a placeholder with Becky Lynch. And honestly, I also feel like that Bayley wouldn't need to capture it either if that's the angle they're starting to go.
They need to give it to somebody that's, you know, even I don't care if it's a former women's champion. You got to remember how many titles are there between Becky Lynch, Bayley, and Charlotte Flair, the three of the four horsewomen. You know? Probably a big number.
Yeah, they could give it to Scarlett Bordeaux. Scarlett should challenge for the IC title. You know, I wouldn't really say Mia Yim because she kind of fell off. I would love for her though to kind of just get back on the horse of that, but you know, her United States pursuit, the United States Championship pursuit, was just not.
You have a question for the final boss? Did you make an appointment? That's my response. A question for a question. I'm sorry, a question with a question.
There's no such thing.
If Seth doesn't figure a name for his group, then I'm just gonna start calling them the Big Oily Men.
Not only that though, dude. Why did he win the Money in the Bank? He don't need it either.
I don't know.
That should have went to someone like Braun Breaker.
I don't know. Yeah, or Andrade. I'm sorry, but Andrade, I haven't seen him really have like a super huge push like that. I would have loved to see him win. Or Solo Sikoa. Why not?
Somebody that's not been that decorated yet. Oh, hey.
I think that's what kills the vibes for WWE with me is just the same old people getting opportunity. That's what's starting to become noticeable and making it bland.
And the fans are speaking about it, man. You saw how they attacked R-Truth getting released. So they have a voice, man. Keep using that voice. And I'm on the other side, like.
I mean, I still feel like it was a work.
People,
if I could be 100%
as far as
honest.
fandom goes, when I joined the wrestling business, it ruined my fandom, bro. It ruined it. I want to add a subject that we could talk about later.
Sure.
Santana.
Oh, okay. From TNA?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can throw that in.
I want to bring him up.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. But let's go a little bit more on the Money in the Bank side, guys. So winners and losers of the Money in the Bank. Obviously, we already mentioned Seth Rollins. The other person winning was Naomi. Did you guys think Naomi needed the win, or would you have preferred that it went to one of the new up-and-comers like Roxanne or Stephanie or Julia?
I would have wanted to see Julia win. If not Julia, my second pick that I would have been okay with winning would be Roxanne.
I think my choice would have been Roxanne, and I'm going to tell you why. Because she's been there obviously longer than Stephanie and Julia. And Stephanie and Julia, I mean, I would not have been mad if one of them won. But I feel like if they would have won, that's too fast. Like, let them marinate a little longer. You know, remember, the title win is not what draws the money. It's the title chase.
Right. What about you, B-Tech? Mike? I was going to call you B-Tech. We're not on the tech channel.
Call me B-Tech. It's all good, right? The thing says B-Tech Mike in the background.
Mike the Biz.
Mike the Biz. Call me. I probably would have went with Stephanie just because I think she's more over than the other two right now, and she has been there not as long. Obviously, you know, Julia came in first. Roxanne had been there in the NXT system for like 5 years already. But yeah, I think Stephanie, minus she's got the look, she's got the in-ring ability. The only thing that really kills her is the language barrier, which obviously she's been working on. Her English has gotten a lot better.
Yeah, but you got to remember, man, in Mexico and in Japan, and especially with the masked luchadors, the language, like their mannerisms, that's their personalities. Even if they don't speak, is what has them over. Look at Pentagon.
Yeah.
Penta.
Oh yeah.
I wish they'd let him talk more, because that guy can cut a promo, even though it's not in English.
Well, they do it every now and then. He'll start in English and then they'll end in Spanish, and that's what we've been seeing on the side of like Stephanie Vaquero also sorry. But again, I think it should have gone to her, because like I mean, come on, guys, she wrestled 3 matches leading up to within the 24-hour period for Money in the Bank. She wrestled the night before on SmackDown, she wrestled at Worlds Collide, and then she wrestled at Money in the Bank. So
they love her in the office.
They love her in the office, and the fans love her also. So I mean, I think obviously it's going to build to it eventually. Who knows when.
Her ass is nice too. No, look, let me be serious though, bro, for a moment. Like Lance Storm, if I could be serious for a moment.
Yeah.
I think the inevitable feud with her is going to be with Rhea Ripley.
Yeah.
Because I feel like she is going to be like the real Ripley to Latinos. Although Rhea Ripley is universally acclaimed, and Stephanie Vaquero will be at that level, and I think it's a prediction. You know what I mean? And then with the whole Netflix deal, dude, like they have so many opportunities. You know what I mean? Like Netflix loves posting WWE related content on their Twitter page.
Yeah.
So it's only a matter of time before you start seeing them cross over into movies and television shows. And I feel like, especially the women's roster, you're going to see a lot of them.
Oh yeah.
And Stephanie Vaquero, Julia, Rhea, Liv Morgan, the top girls, you're going to see them cross over a lot. It's great, man.
Well, we know Liv Morgan is going to be on some sort of movie or show, because I think she was out for a couple weeks shooting it. So we know that's happening.
But back to Stephanie real quick, though. Sure. That feud is inevitable there, because they've already got the comparisons, the kind of gothic look, the intensity. Their wrestling style is a little different, but I think they could mesh together. Yeah. Rhea's more of a power wrestler, because Rhea's pretty tall. I compare her a lot to Raquel Rodriguez. And, Stephanie is a little shorter. She's more of a like a HBK / Bret Hart hybrid when it comes to the wrestling, if you watch closely. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I think it would be interesting to see that come into play. But honestly, heel? Like if they're gonna put, I don't think it would be a heel point. That's the point that I'm getting to. Is like if they ever were to put those two, Stephanie and Rhea, I think it would be like almost similar to a case of like a passing of the torch, right? It would be that type of thing, Stephanie Vaquero being like, taking over the role of what Rhea has done for so many years now in WWE, being, the ass kicker, smash everyone Hulk style type of thing. And for the better part of anything, that would be like during Stephanie's big push, honestly. Because Rhea doesn't need a title right now. She definitely doesn't. That's my daughter's favorite right now is Rhea, and even my daughter says it. She don't care if she's champion or not. Like she's top of women's. And I'm looking at my daughter like the more and more that she's watching wrestling and just developing her own thing on it. It's like it's crazy.
I think Mill Hustle's got a little busy.
Well, I mean, yeah, the OF life.
I mean, I don't want to say, but anyways, yeah. I mean, I honestly didn't think Naomi needed the win, although I know she's been in kind of a lot of top storylines this year. Obviously with Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair.
That's not where I want to see it go, though. Like, because honestly, I feel like that's where it's going to go. And if that's what they're trying to do, is put Naomi in that role as a heel and make her a heel, women's champion, and then begin this push for Jade Cargill to go after her and go after the belt. It's like, no offense, some people out there may think it's a little wishy-washy. I'm just like, okay, let's have something different, Stephanie Blackhair chasing the title, that's a good thing. Roxanne Perez, Julia, anybody else. Naomi, she's not brand new to it. Like I liked her run in TNA when she was women's champion there, but
I'm just really not a fan of her new character, I guess. Like the heel persona of her. Like, yes, she is a little unhinged. But I don't know. I think I just feel like I need to see more from it, But I mean,
what's with the metal music too? Like her whole intro, like metal music, I get, but then she still kind of has that vibe of like the techno glow style. So
I mean, the outfits are hitting. I like the caution. It's kind of reminiscent of Owen Hart from back in the day.
Owen!
I mean, everyone knows
you were
that.
Come say on, that.
Man. That's everyone. If no one, if you're not a wrestling fan, and if you're a wrestling fan and for like 20 plus years and you didn't catch that, then yeah.
Sorry. Hey, what?
He is not a nugget.
I got. Oh no, I'm talking about the phone. Sorry. No, I caught a lot of flack for this a couple years back, but not anymore, dude. Like honestly, and I enjoy it. I enjoy the women wrestling more than the men now. They are actually over to me. They are really moving the needle.
Are you ready for the next PLE? For all women?
And you know what though?
I'm ready.
That PLE compared to this one, the one because they had one before the Evolution one. They said that one was like one of the worst financial whatever. I think this was going to blow it out the water because the talent is way more over now compared to, and a lot of the girls that were there are going to be over here too.
Yeah, I agree.
And they're letting them wrestle.
Well, I agree there that, the talent's way more over than they were back then. Back then, a lot of the talents that we see now, the Charlotte Flairs, the Becky Lynches, they were not there at the talent level that they are now, right? Same thing with Bayley. Sasha Banks was at that event as well, right? So it's like now, you have them being kind of like the seniors in the event now. Now they're trying to bring up some of these younger talents, right, that are coming in. And keep in mind, man, a lot of these younger talents, in my opinion, are better than they are, at least ring-wise. Maybe not personality-wise just yet, but they're going to get there. So
you know who would be the icing on the cake if they were to bring her back with this roster that is so in depth across all the brands? AJ Lee.
Oh yeah.
Oh, China too, bro. If China was still around,
alive, bro, dude. Oh my God,
man, I miss her so much. Yeah. I knew China.
I was about to say.
Yeah, no, China was something else. But yeah, AJ Lee, I do agree with as well. I would love to see a little more of Trish and Lita action, but they're up there in age already. So, I mean,
well, I got a question for both of you guys, and so I would appreciate you guys' answers on this. So, in today's modern women's division, but with a prime China and a prime Rhea, would that blow out the arena?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes or no?
You know what? It would be a great program, but Rhea would have her work cut out for her because, let's be honest, China was not the greatest wrestler.
Yeah.
She was more of a spectacle.
Yeah.
Rhea would have a lot of work to do, but I think it would generate a lot of interest.
Agreed. Yeah, I think it would, Yeah, I think it would be there. I think a lot of people would pay money to see that. I think it would. I don't know if it would sell out an arena. You know what I mean? But maybe like a 5,000 seat arena.
Oh, I love China. China was one of the nicest people I ever met, dude.
Well, that's cool. I never got to meet her, unfortunately. I got to meet Lita once.
I feel bad for the cards that China was dealt, though.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that saddens me when I think of the whole Joni Laura story is just the cards that was dealt, the way that things went down between her and Paul, and of course the decisions that they made. She was built up to beat down men, and all of a sudden it's like no, you're going to be in the women's division and focus solely on women. And it's like, well, you just had her beat the crap out of some pretty strong
even
dudes.
During her era, during her prime, she had the same issue as Alundra Blaze. They just did not have enough women wrestlers, so they just eliminated the division. There just wasn't enough. Now there's more than enough. You know, and imagine all the.
It would have been so fun. That's all. That's why I go into the
crowd, and you see all those young girls there. You know, ages between 10 and 25, whatever. You know, I've been trying to turn my daughter on to wrestling too. If she ever wanted to grow up to do that, I would 100% be behind her.
All right, speaking of women, I have like one question that I would ask Phil Brooks. I'd be kind of nervous to ask him because I don't know how he would take it, but it's so funny because I would always ask him like, does it ever feel weird to him that his wife kind of idolized his ex-girlfriend?
Yeah, I saw a photo of that earlier.
Yeah, I was just like, that's got to be so awkward for CM Punk.
I don't know, man. Because first off, it was so long ago.
Yeah.
And I don't think there was ever any heat. I mean, I don't think their relationship was as serious as like Matt Hardy and her.
Yeah.
That you saw where that went. So I don't know, man. I don't think it would be that awkward.
No, I just think it would be like, in a sense, what I mean, awkward.
Matt Hardy and age.
Yeah. But like the awkwardness is just someone was to ask him about it, right? Because like when you look at that photo, AJ's so young. And then she's getting an autograph and a hug from Lita. It's like, hey, Punk, what I mean? Like, I love Phil Brooks, man. One day before I die, I need to meet the man, like, and not just like go and get an autograph and take a picture, but like I would love to just have a conversation with him, just straight up. That's my dream one day when it ever happens. But back to Money in the Bank, we're kind of like rolling away from.
We love it. It's all good. I don't mind the distractions. Yeah, so Money in the Bank, obviously, we went over the females. Let me see what other matches were in Money in the Bank. It was only like a 4 or 5 match card, honestly. We can...
You want to talk about the tag team match that like bombed so badly, in my opinion?
Sorry, I had to get back. Yeah, dude, if AJ Lee was to return to the WWE with that roster,
it would go off.
It would be like, honestly, like it could probably hurt the viewership of the guys.
Yeah,
I think. Vince Russo said that when the TNA Knockouts division was really hot, that they were drawing more than the guys were.
Understandable.
Oh yeah.
Understandable, but I mean,
who's someone that's not there that should be in WWE and hopefully is one.
Wait, somebody that's not there, female wise, or
yeah, female and male. We can do male too, but let's start with female.
Oh, I don't know, man. Honestly,
that new AEW girl, Tekla.
Nah, I don't think so. She
should have went to WWE, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it. I've already watched a couple of her matches, and I haven't really seen anything on as far as promo wise go. So maybe that's why, she decided to go the AEW route, because maybe she just wanted to be where the best wrestle, I guess. It is what it is, though. Who else? I'm trying to think, like, who would do well in WWE from like TNA or AEW. I'm not 100% sure, honestly, man.
Or even Japan.
Santino Marella.
No.
Who's that one Joshi that she unfortunately unalived herself due to cyberbullying?
Oh, the one that passed away like 5 years ago. I think they talked about that recently. I forgot her name. But I know who you're talking about, though. Yeah.
And Julia's always paying tribute to her.
Yeah, I think they were friends in real life, probably.
If she would have, had that unfortunate circumstance not happen, I think she would have been in the WWE.
She had a good look. She had a very good look, honestly.
She would have. She would have sold a lot of merch, I think, especially to the younger girls. Man, there's always a place for someone,
Yeah, I mean, there's always.
Ask you a question now that since we're all asking questions.
Oh my god!
Who do you think? Okay, I'll start with you, Mike. If you were in the WWE and you were actually over, who do you think you would appeal to?
Who would I appeal to?
Yeah.
I don't know. That is a random. I think. Sorry. I think I would probably appeal more to like the anime geek nerds guys. I guess people that are like into like Pokemon and shit like that. Maybe I guess I don't know. Like I'd probably be like a Keith Lee and Ricochet that are wearing like their anime tees when they're getting interviewed and shit like that, or even maybe like a Selena Vega or Xavier Woods where like I'm cosplaying like my favorite characters from a video game or something like that. So maybe like the more nerds than anything else, I guess.
How about you, Tino?
The geeky nerds.
Oh, Hornswoggle. Well, like the underdogs, I'm always gravitated towards like the underdog types. You know what I mean? So.
Okay, good answers.
Yeah,
I think I would probably relate more to the urban crowd, the inner city crowd.
Okay.
Honestly, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you'd be
like our truth crowd.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, that'd probably be me.
I could see that. I could see you wearing a hoodie and being a gangsta.
New Jack.
Oh, too funny.
Inner city crowd.
Oh
Mills Uso.
Yeah, them too.
Mills. His name's the tattoos.
The Oos. Are you feeling Oosy today?
Juicy.
Oh my god. Okay, well, speaking of Oos, we'll get into that.
I ask that because we're talking about demographics and stuff. You know?
Yeah.
Like, you remember, this is way before our time, but this guy was Superman to me. Bruno Sammartino.
Yeah, I remember who Bruno Sammartino.
Yeah, like he appealed because of his story coming up. You know how his family ran away from Italy during World War II. So his fan base, like when you went to MSG, it was all Italians, Puerto Ricans, Jews, and just basically New Yorkers. So, that's why I ask that.
Yeah.
I say Jews respectfully because that's a big Jewish population where he lived.
True.
Yeah. Why do we have this photo up?
Because we were talking about talk about the tag match that you had mentioned, and then
you mean the only saving grace when Ron Killings came back and just attacked Cena? That was like the only.
I mean, I knew it was going to be a throwaway match, like from the get go. I really wasn't like wanting to watch this match, but I was like, something's going to happen. Someone's going to interfere, or someone's going to get screwed over, right? So we saw it happen, right? Ron Killings came in and interfered in the match. He took out Cena, obviously, and the crowd went crazy, and then the show ended. Right.
That's what saved it.
Yeah, because it was let's be honest. This Money in the Bank this year was not very exciting. The matches were not very fun to watch. Probably I would say the only match that I really did enjoy was the Mysterio Octagon Jr. match. Man, that was like the only match that I kind of really enjoyed watching. Yeah. I didn't like Lyra Valkyria versus Becky. I think that one went way too long. Even though a lot of people may disagree, like some people did think it was a good match, right? I could see it, right? But I just thought it went way too long for what it was. And then even the ending was kind of dumb, where it's like, Lyra has to put the belt on Becky. Really wasn't really exciting.
Yeah, that was really weird.
Yeah, I was like, they could have saved that for Monday
bro.
night. Yeah.
Dude, like Triple H, his booking has just become like it's not boring. Not that boring. It is boring sometimes, but it's just really like all over the place. I just don't know how to describe it.
It don't make sense. It don't make sense to some of the stuff that they're having him do just doesn't make sense. I mean, like I get why take the belt off Jey Uso, why that happened, and we'll talk about that later. But
bro,
the main event being those two. The main event being those two. I mean, like Logan Paul. Like I mean, I don't know. I can't take him serious. He hasn't done anything to capture me as a fan to take him serious, regardless if he's a heel or a face. To me, I just think he's a fly-by-night, I didn't make it in boxing, so this is my next calling type of thing. And how do you take someone like that serious? And then you put him up with John Cena, who's like, I'm sorry, but John really needs to focus on his angle as being a heel. I mean, you can't be having people being able to pick out moments where you're wanting to reach out to a fan, but you're not supposed to because you got to stay in character. I mean, John Cena sucks as a heel. right now.
Yeah.
Cody needs to stop with that drop uppercut. That
too many people are doing that.
There's just
the cutter.
It's not devastating.
The Cody cutter thing. That's becoming the new super kick.
Yeah.
Everybody does a cutter now. Before it was everybody did a DDT.
Yeah.
Now everybody's doing a super
kick.
They're
doing it in AEW though. Like I'm seeing a lot more people in AEW do the cutter now or whatever, the RKO, whatever you want to call it. There's nothing wrong with that, right? But it's like you said, it's like the new super kick basically. Not too many people doing it in WWE, but still,
cutter.
I think it's interesting, I guess. Twist of
fate.
Yeah, that was over.
Ethan Page.
I don't know.
Ethan Page in NXT, that's his finisher. It's Twist of Fate.
Oh, God.
It's like, come on, guys.
That match to me was just, I don't know. I felt like that match should have been.
I don't know. It just, it felt like Money in the Bank felt like an extension. Okay. Wait, who is he telling that?
All right, Mills, thanks for being with us, man. Appreciate you.
To us or somebody else? Shit, I don't even know. Okay, he's telling that to us. Okay,
he had to drop out. Yeah, he had to drop out. But like the tag team match, honestly, shouldn't have been the main event.
Been the first match.
Like that, I would have been cool with either the women's Money in the Bank or the men's Money in the Bank should have been the main event. Yeah, and that should have been like opening match. It was so bland and so boring. It's like, oh, John's gonna do his 5 moves of doom, and Cody's gonna do his 7 moves of doom. And Jay's gonna try to look like he can stand his ground, even though he was getting his ass kicked a bunch of times on there. And Logan, he's just gonna panter to the crowd, doing stupid things like grabbing the drone and trying to do a frog splash with the drone in your hand. Like that is so corny as hell.
Yeah. I don't know why Triple H or the producers have it in their head that like that is going to be like, oh, like, like the fans are going to freak out about it, or the people watching at home are going to be like, whoa, this is amazing. Like I understood it the first couple times when he did it, like, with the phone or whatever, the selfie camera, etc. But it's like, okay, do it a couple times and that's it. Don't give it to us all the time where, it just kind of gets like stupid and redundant at the same time. So I just really wasn't a fan of that. So, but yeah, I don't know, man.
And his finisher is ridiculous too. That pulverizer,
it's just like a modified DDT.
Way too much energy.
Yeah, it's like the dumbest version of a DDT. Yeah. I would rather just see him continue to do like the buckshot lariat, which I think they're trying to get away from him doing that now, for obvious reasons, right? Hangman. Or I mean, I don't even know, man. Honestly, like his moveset is just. I mean, not to bash on Logan Paul, right? He's actually decently polished in the ring, but it's like
he's getting better, yes, for sure. Like I give him that.
Just like
I just can't take him serious. Like he really needs to put something on that tells me as a fan that he's serious about this. Like swear on anything. If he does it, like I will back him. Whether he's a heel or a face. If he wins, a grand title, I would fully support it. I don't feel that, and I think he's got to stop pandering to the crowd about being a hated celebrity, because that's what continues to keep the turnout switch as people taking him serious about wrestling, is when he kind of acknowledges the influencer side. Like get away from that, get away from your boxing career, get away from all of that, and primarily focus on wrestling. Fans will flock to you when they see that, whether you're a good guy or a bad guy, but if you're putting in the effort, if you're putting in the time, and if you're honing your skills, and if you're building, you're progressing in your craft, you will have the people behind you.
Yeah, I agree. And I think just what's killing it for him is that he's not there every week, right? He's not consistent. There's not enough footage of him, only when he's only there when they're leading up to a PLE that he's actually going to be in. If he's not in the PLE, he ain't there. So it's like, okay, like you can't just have Logan Paul show up like 1 week and not be there for 3 weeks, and then show up just to kind of get into another random feud. Like, I mean, some people like it, some people don't. Yeah, but I'm not a fan of that. Again, like you said.
No, the people that like it are fans of Logan Paul, and I will address them on one thing. It's like you can't go and like give a pass to Logan Paul being a part-time wrestler, but then knock The Undertaker for doing it, knock Brock Lesnar for doing it, like knock John Cena for doing it. It doesn't work that way. It's like It's all part-timers you shit on or you love them, period. Logan Paul's no exception to the rule. So I agree with you. He needs to be there more if he wants people to get behind him.
And now that I was gonna say, now that TKO is apparently like $3 billion in debt or something like that, you know, I know that they're starting to restructure some of these contracts. I'm hearing that they want to restructure Roman Reigns' contract. You know, that could change for guys like Logan Paul, who are there really only part-time, right? So we'll see how that goes, because they're paying him. You know, Roman Reigns, technically, I don't know if he still is or not, the top paid guy in WWE. And, you know, he's only there like 6 times a year. So it's like, okay, like, how do you have a guy?
Wasn't his deal like 15 million
a year? Yep, exactly. So, you know, the fact that he's so high paid, but he's not there, he's not, you know, I don't know if he's still selling merchandise or what's going on there. Obviously, you know, Jey Uso probably is one of the top sellers with the shirts, you know, the Yeet shirts or whatever. But I don't know, man. You know, it's just been kind of weird, I guess. I mean, I've been seeing a lot of stuff going around, you know, that Vince McMahon wants to buy the company back, right? That he hates the way the company is being run right now. This and that. So we'll see. That could be a possibility also. You never know, man.
I mean, I really wouldn't want it going back into the hands of Vince McMahon, because he has, before the acquisition, before the company being sold, it had already proven to us that Vince was so out of touch with today. Yeah, sure, he could build a star in the 1980s, he could build a star in the 1990s, but you know, now things are a little bit different, you know, with like the way that, you know, and I don't mean to bring technology into it, but it's kind of part of the reason why. But like, because technology grows so fast and the access to information is so quick at the fingertips, you can't BS people anymore. Like, it ain't gonna work having the Ultimate Warrior do his no sell. Like, it's just not gonna work anymore. So Vince was out of touch. Paul Levesque is in touch, but I mean, trying to build something great and then, you know, being on a budget because of debt obviously shows that Paul doesn't have all the, you know, the answers to everything. You know, the cuts, the layoffs. You know, it's just one of those things where you start to really see where someone's mindset is business wise. And gosh, man, I hope to come out of this funk. I wouldn't want it back in Vince's hands. The Rock has, like, you know, some, you know, like, I mean, he's on the board and he's got a massive following. Like, I think The Rock needs to be more involved to kind of help put asses in the seats, to kind of help get, you know, think the ball rolling when it comes to the financials.
I mean, I will. Now that you speak of The Rock, man, you know, I'm honestly shocked that he was not there, because Money in the Bank was in L.A., I believe, California. It was at the I forgot which arena. It was the that new one that they debuted on Netflix or whatever. But I don't know if you saw clips of this, but The Rock's mom was actually in the crowd behind Michael Cole. So that kind of gave me like kind of like a hint that, okay, maybe, you know, The Rock's there, maybe he's gonna come out, you know, at the end of, you know, the at the end of that tag match, you know, maybe you know, Jey Uso got hurt or something like that. You know, he comes out, Seth Rollins, you know, cashes in on him. You know, that would have been, I feel like Seth Rollins cashing in that night would have been better than Uso losing clean on Monday.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I think, like, you know, if they, you know, they already had it in their mind that, you know, the championship run for Uso wasn't doing it for the fan base. I mean, people were behind him because, exactly like our resident heel commentator just said, people are more interested in the chase for the gold, not when you're wearing the gold. And I think that's where things just kind of fell off. So it would have been better, in my opinion, for Jey to just lose it that way. Now that, you know, process and think about everything, like, yeah, you know, I was kind of hoping that things would turn around for Jey Uso, because I was happy to see him become champion. But obviously, it's just, you know, the timing is just not right. He doesn't have enough time to turn it around.
Yeah.
So Seth would have picked up the belt, and I think that would have been an even greater feud, because we heard CM Punk say that his goal is not to chase gold this time. But I think it would have probably been something they could have made out of it if CM Punk challenged Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight title. And the World Heavyweight title is a belt that CM Punk hasn't, you know, really held on to. He's had the WWE title, but not the World Heavyweight title.
Yeah,
so
I think it's interesting that they're kind of shifting focus on CM Punk going for the world title now, even though him and Cena are on different shows. But I guess that really doesn't matter in the TKO era, right? That Punk is on Raw and Cena's on SmackDown. But I think we knew eventually down the line there would be at least them feuding at least one last time, right, with each other. Obviously, Punk not going to win this, and a lot of comments about Punk, claiming that he would never go on the Saudi tours or whatever. Obviously, he's going now, so
yeah, he's going, and you know what? It wouldn't hurt Punk if Punk doesn't win it anyways. I mean, there's so many ways that they could do that, right? Like obviously, Seth would probably. I think Seth would be the one to stop Punk from even remotely coming close to winning, and not by cashing in. They're not going to let him cash in on Cena, but I just think that's just going to be Seth's thing. Seth hates CM Punk, so the thing that CM Punk warned him about, that as long as he was in the company, he would never be champion. I think Seth is going to use that against Punk for Cena to stay champion and to get the W without really pissing off fans.
That's probably how I think that's how that's going to go down. Rollins is going to probably troll for a little while before cashing in. He might even wait until Cena's year is done to see where that plays out, I guess. Obviously maybe he doesn't want to tread on that, obviously, but you never know, right? Maybe he could be the one that cashes in on Cena's last match and he steals the show, I guess. I don't know. That'd be interesting also.
It's a very big possibility. Very big possibility. But if they were to do that, I guess it would be around the time where, they would let Cena turn from a heel back to, just himself. Will probably be when they would do that. But then there's also talks, that with Ron Killings there, that maybe they'll give him one big push, but then he would have to feud with Cena towards the end of the year, like way towards the end of the year to make that count.
Yeah, well, it's a possibility.
I don't know.
It is always a possibility, so we'll see how that goes. I'm just like, It's like, I think one of you guys said that right now it's a little bit everywhere right now. In the company, which that's kind of how it feels like. Sometimes they try to run with something, it doesn't work out, so they just jump into another direction quickly, and they try to make you forget like what just happened. Like there's a lot of storyline and plot holes that they never finish, obviously.
I don't know, but the tag team match at Money in the Bank, that shouldn't have been the main event. I think it
should have been the first match of the night. That would have made more sense to me, or at least before the actual main event, or besides the Money in the Bank. That way, it takes the illusion away from the fans saying like, okay, this match is happening now, so no one can technically cash in on the Mel side. You know what I mean? So even if this match happens and it's the main event, no one can cash in because it's over already.
Yeah. So, I think that's what a lot of people were thinking. Why it was the main event, because people were thinking that there was going to be a cash in. Me personally, because the way that the overall match was, I wouldn't even want it in the PLE. It should have been like the pre-show match.
Pre-show. They don't even have pre-show matches anymore, man. That's what I feel like
they could have brought it back with this one.
So lazy with like stuff like that now, man. Like, I mean, I was very fortunate enough to when I went to Saturday Night Main Event in San Antonio back in February, that or maybe it was late January. I don't remember if it was late January or early February, that we did actually have a pre-show match before they went on the air, just to kind of get the crowd going and excited, right? But they don't even do that like in PLEs, you know what I mean? So I'm just like, okay, like what is this? Like, I'm not, luckily the show was actually decent, right? Compared to the Saturday Night Main Event, which was all commercials and everyone was complaining about it. So the one I went to was actually pretty decent, so I can't complain about that. But anyways, okay, just moving forward, is there anything else you want to talk about as far as Money in the Bank related, or did you want to move on from that already?
No, we can move on from that. Money in the Bank wasn't that great. I would.
There's a problem. All right, I'm gonna stop it before we get copyrighted. Take it down.
Yeah, I think he's got a good look though, and it's like it kind of brings back that essence of like Mr. Sacco and freaking Cobra. He's over on that. But Money in the Bank, I would rank it, 2.5 out of 5. I would rank it at that. I think the saving graces was the women's Money in the Bank match and the men's, with seeing what was it, the double I know Roxanne calls it Pop Rocks, but like the Mexican Destroyer, like the double of that. I mean, that was pretty cool. Like some of the stuff they hit on there was okay with the ladder match. Still wasn't, Team 3D Hardys, Edge and Christian style, but it was pretty good for the most part.
I think the spot I enjoyed on the female match was the double ladder spot where they had Stephanie and I believe Rhea doing the I forget what the move is called, the Devil's Kiss or something like that. On the ladder, which I was like, oh man, dude, that's gotta probably hurt more for the person doing it than the person receiving it, because they're having to hit their knees on the the actual ladder. You know what I mean? So I'm hoping they're wearing some sort of like shin guards or something like that.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, we can move on from Money in the Bank because it was
all right. Sorry, Mr. Iguana, we got to take you off the edge here. So, or I'll take you off the screen here. There you go. Oh man, yeah. So I don't know, man. Like I guess we can move on to. I mean, we already talked a little bit about this on your side, but we can talk about our truth angle and him coming back. Getting rehired. I guess, even though, to me, I'm gonna just say it. I think it's been a work this entire time, even though he's saying it's not a work, and his son is even in on it, saying that it's not a work or whatever. But I think it is a work because technically he was still under contract. He wasn't, completely gone from WWE just yet. But
I would agree. I would say, it wasn't a way of work, just because, like you just pointed out the obvious. They said that they weren't going to renew his contract, but he was still under contract during that time. What I think happened was that they took a negative and turned it into a positive. Like they decided fans were upset about the decision to let him go, so they decided, okay, you know what, we're going to offer you a contract, and they came to an agreement on the contract. So then they were like, okay, well, we got the fans upset that you're leaving the company, so let's just continue on that. Let's just play on that. Show up at Money in the Bank, attack John Cena. Make your statements. Make your statement too that you're not going to be R-Truth the comedian anymore. You're going to be Ron Killings. We're going to get people to take you serious now. So it's like it worked out for the best, because he gets to kill off a character without disappointing fans. So yeah, I agree with you. I don't think it was. Like,
I mean, it wasn't a shoot. It was a work. It was a work. Yeah. So it was a work.
It was definitely work, and it
makes sense. I have a feeling that this is something they hadn't planned all along, because they're like, okay, like what can we do to put more eyes and on the company where like, let's say for instance some guy like R-Truth, who's been a lot very employed with them for a very long time. Fan favorite when he's there in his comedic roles, and let's just have him make a tweet saying, hey, WWE decided not to renew my contract or whatever. Let's see how the crowd reacts. And obviously it was it went crazy. Oh, yeah. People on Twitter and social media went crazy, and that's all they were talking about that week, right? They were like, oh, is R-Truth going to show up on Monday Night Raw? What's going to happen? Are we going to see him? Is he going to? And obviously, it was only a week. He showed up at Money in the Bank. He interfered. He caused Cena and Logan Paul to. I don't know. Wait, did he just interfere and they ended up losing, or was it a disqualification? I don't even remember, honestly.
No, they got pinned. But. Yeah, it was just like Ron Killings jumped the barrier, attacked Cena, hit him with the belt, got out the ring really fast, and then Cody them capitalized on.
So
that.
It worked obviously, and then for Triple H to say at on the post show, it's all a part of the show or whatever. You know what I mean? For a lot of people shitted on him for that, but I'm just like, what if he was telling the truth? You know what I mean? Like, you don't fucking know if he's telling the truth or not. I mean, that's the thing. Like, wrestling as a whole is a work, guys. Everything that happens in wrestling is a work. It doesn't matter if you think it's a shoot or not. It's a work. I mean, the only thing that kind of felt real to me, and the long time that I've been watching wrestling, was the whole Matt Hardy, Edge, and Lita thing. That shit felt fucking real to me. You know what I mean?
It was based on real. Yeah, and that's the thing that fans got to remember too. Sometimes the best works comes in the form of just like real life. And like I said, like maybe they didn't have an agreement, but when they came to an agreement, Paul was just like, well, let's see what happens. Because here are two things that is a positive that came out of all this, right? One, was, it definitely saved the match at Money in the Bank, the tag team match with him coming in and attacking Cena. But it also allowed to repackage a character in one of the most best ways you can, right? Instead of having them disappear for several months, come back and then just use a different name, or try to make it so fancy of a repackaging. They literally just made it so natural. Like, yeah, I'm R-Truth when I'm funny. I'm Ron Killings when I'm serious. And they're still playing on that, and it's like, it was a great way to go. So fans need to just kind of chill out, even though the Triple H said it's all part of the show.
Get over it, like, just enjoy. And I'm hoping that I get to see Ron Killings or R-Truth, whoever you want to call him, at the house show that I'm going to, because after All In weekend, which is, I think, the second week of July, WWE's coming to where I live, and I was like, what the heck? Like, I thought that they kind of cut down on their house shows, which they did, but I never thought they haven't been to where I live in a couple of years, honestly. So I'm like kind of excited, even though, I'm not going to get to see John Cena for the last time, unfortunately. Right. At least I'll get to see Cody and, whoever else is there. Obviously it's going to be they're naming it a super show. So I know we're going to get to see like Raw and SmackDown. Hopefully I get to see like Randy Orton.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you still got some part of John Cena because, like, his famous line, you can't see him. Yeah. So, I mean, you're still part of it, whether you physically see him or not. I would hope out of all this, leading up into SummerSlam, because SummerSlam, and this is my worry about SummerSlam, right? Like, the direction where stories are going and how they're building them up. SummerSlam is going to be 2 nights. The first time ever, it's going to be 2 nights. And if you don't start building stories that have good storytelling, then, what do you expect for your summer blockbuster? 2 nights, you gotta stack the deck, because it's 2 nights. We can't just have 2 nights of block.
Well, I'm hoping that it's not like 2 nights of like 3 match shows only, man. I'm gonna be pissed off, because it's like,
that would be idiotic. I'm expecting it to be like WrestleMania, but like a good WrestleMania card where it's like nothing is going to bore you. There's not going to be a match that you're just like, what the hell is this? Or how did we get here with this?
Trickled it down a lot, man. Like, especially WrestleMania, because WrestleMania, like, sometimes night 1 will be longer than night 2, and that's what's been happening in the last couple of years, where it's like night 1 will be like 3.5, 4 hours, and then night 2 will only be like 2.5 hours, and then that's it. They're like, okay, let's go home. You know what I mean? So it's like, I want equal amount of time both nights. I don't care how tired I am as a fan. You know what I mean?
Yeah, make it make sense. Give equal time. And above all, because the whole point in WWE, not just WWE, but TNA, AEW, besides the in-ring action to just see what all kinds of crazy stuff they pull off, but it's also storytelling, right? This is the thing where people used to always shit on me watching wrestling when I was a kid, and it's like, but the storytelling's good. I mean, people watch soap operas. This is like the male drama soap opera type of thing. And if they don't have good stories, then the matches, they just seem pointless. It'll be more of like a sport, like 2 gladiators meet in the ring and they wrestle for like 10 minutes. You give a story to it and it's like, oh, what's going to happen? And it keeps people at the edge of their seat. Everybody has their creative thought processes happening when they're watching, because you're like screaming at the TV, maybe so-and-so is going to run in, or somebody's coming, or the referee's in on it. Or, like, they need good storytelling, and we're already midway through June. You got a couple more weeks left until SummerSlam, so let's kind of get on the ball, WWE. Let's start building some good stories.
That's crazy, and that's because we still have Night of Champions coming up also, so that's not too far away. That's not too far away from us either. So I'm just like thinking to myself, damn, first of all, Goldberg's coming back. I don't care what anyone's saying. I mean, everyone knows it. Yeah. Everyone knows he's going to come back for that last match. But God, I hope he doesn't take the title off of Gunther. That would be kind of fucking dumb if that does happen. But at the same time, like, okay, maybe they can do it, and then Rollins cashes in on Goldberg or some shit like that. I don't know. We'll see.
It would be a good accolade for Seth Rollins to annoy fans by saying that he got one over on Goldberg
in his last match or whatever. That would be funny.
Yeah, I mean, It would be, but I need WWE to start building up stuff. It just seems like that they don't have direction with some of the talent that they're primarily focused on right now. SummerSlam's around the corner. That's just my only worry. It's like, give us something good. I don't care if Seth Rollins becomes the champion. I mean, I could care less if we get 10 minutes of John Cena, ranting on about why he broke up with us. I don't care. Just make it freaking interesting and make SummerSlam a hit. Because SummerSlam's always been my favorite PLE / pay-per-view back in the day. I always watch SummerSlam. And I would hate for it to just be this, the first vanilla flavored SummerSlam ever. 2 nights advertised, has everyone shocked. Oh, it's going to be 2 nights. And then it's just like BS matches. El Grande Americano wrestles, a leopard or something. It would be like that ridiculous. Oh, if he wrestled Iguana, that would be interesting. I would be
laughing so hard, but it would be such a good match also, probably.
Yeah, for sure. And even if it was just Chad Gable, you know what I mean? That would still be like hella interesting to watch that match, I feel like the sins of the Wyatt Six, what WWE has done with the Wyatt Six and has made them bland, is starting to affect outside of that. Because I haven't heard anything from the Wyatt Six since they attacked the tag team division. Like, again, very bad storytelling and very bad booking. What is going on with that? And it's like, so now I don't even really care about the Wyatt Six.
Yeah,
I'm not concerned that they're not there because they're being wasted away. I'm more primarily focused on like Alexa Bliss. I like, her direction of where she's going with things, and just oh man.
Well,
I get
yeah. I don't know really what they're going to do with the the Wyatt Six and Alexa Bliss. I feel like now they're focusing more on that tag division, which it just seems weird to throw them in with that. You know what I mean? Like with everything that's going on.
Yeah.
And even if you watch SmackDown, even all the tag teams were like, oh, we can't concern ourselves with, these guys over here or whatever, this and that. And I'm just like, yeah, like what the fuck? Like there's like, what's really the point of them like trying to interject themselves into the tag thing, unless they're going to have like Dexter Lumis and what's his face, Redbeard, or Eric Rowan win the tag championships and just be like a super dominating tag team championship. I'm just like,
it would only work if Alexa was part of the group and if it turns out that she like orchestrated it, right? But they need to start moving on that now. If they're gonna bring Alexa into the fold, now's the time to start.
Especially because they're on the same show, so it's like how do you not have them like? How do you not have her and the Wyatts like conversing in any way like at all on the show, right? I mean there needs to be something there, and the only way that it's going to be interesting is if they interject Alexa, like you said.
Yeah, they got to pull at that point. They could literally do it, and then to kind of giving Uncle Howdy a rest, right? Like he doesn't always have to be there, he can still be a part of it. Alexa can always make reference to him on shows without him presently being there, and every now and then Uncle Howdy can make his presence to give that shock factor. But you got to put Alexa in there. You got to let her orchestrate the whole thing, and I think it would move better. But until they do that, the Wyatt Six is pretty much a bust in my opinion. But even then, we need some substance. You know what I mean? Like they're doing all these things with these promotional crossovers, and it's like, great. Can we build stories to come up, not just only for SummerSlam, but for the rest of the year leading up to, Survivor Series War Games, leading to next year Royal Rumble and into WrestleMania. Like they got to start. It's like they wasted all their energy on the Bloodline storyline, and like they forgot how to write.
Forgot about everybody else.
Yeah, so now they don't know how to write for anybody else.
And that's true. Like I feel like they do focus too much on like the main titles. It's kind of like what happened, in the 2015 era, where it's like they were really just focusing on the world titles. They didn't really care about anything else. Then it's like, okay, you can do that, but it's like, okay, now you added like 3 more titles to the fucking to the mix. So you're giving these championships to people, and it just doesn't mean anything. The titles don't mean anything because we're not getting good storyline. We're not getting good build up, and we're not getting good wrestling at the same time. You're still throwing these people in like 5-minute matches, throwaway matches, basically.
Yeah, it's a repeated cycle. And I noticed that with WWE, it's always a repeated cycle. It's like they start to get rid of titles to start adding value to the championships and start having all these different storylines, but then they act like, well, they got really good storylines happening, and so somebody needs to have a belt to make this, work. So then they start bringing back titles or introducing new titles, and then it gets so bland. It's like, oh yeah, you got a shiny gold belt. Good for you, type of thing.
Honestly, I'm not interested in no shade, right? But I'm not interested in Zelina Vega being the female United States champion at all. And again, Becky Lynch also being the women's Intercontinental champion. Don't care really. Jacob Fatu being the United States champion, like I want to see where that goes, but it's like right now they're still winning him off the Solo Sikoa and everything like that they really haven't really focused him being as the actual champion, right? They're just focusing on the story around him rather than him himself. And
yeah, well, I think that's the new feud now, right? After he screwed over Solo, I think that's the whole point now. But like, what are they really gonna do? That's my concern. Are they going to make Solo take the belt from Jacob? Is that the idea?
I hope not. I hope that they don't I do that. I really wouldn't want to see that, honestly.
Yeah, because I mean, honestly, we haven't really gotten to, like you said, it's always been around Jacob, not about Jacob, and I think that's the breakaway should be about that. But like, honestly, I agree with you. Like, I think the way that this would work out, I honestly feel like unify the women's Intercontinental and the women's United States Championship and just have one mid-card title for the mid-card, women's division. Keep their keep their shows titles, but just make it more interesting. Because like in the men's side of thing, according to the record books, there's actually 3 belts. There's the Raw's World Heavyweight Championship, and then even though it's only one belt, the one belt still represents 2 titles. It still represents the Universal Championship and the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. And it's like, how? I thought we unified the belts. I thought that's why you gave Roman one title and got rid of, the 2 belts, was because you guys are just going to focus primarily on one. But I guess that one belt still counts for 2 championships.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense to me, honestly.
It's too many belts, too many champions. And that's why they can't write storylines, because how do you write a storyline for a bunch of people in a promotion that, without it needing to lead towards a title chase, but still be interesting? I think that's the thing. So hopefully they can figure out the right balance, the right amount of championship belts up for grabs versus, storytelling for, feuds and stuff like that. I think that's what they need to primarily focus on.
Yeah, right. Just get rid of all the belts and start from scratch, right? Don't make it like AEW where they have like 100 titles that are never being defended.
Oh, that's what it's turning into.
Hey, at least to go a little off topic, AEW is going to unify their international and their continental title into one championship. I don't know what they're going to call it, but they did show the new belt on Dynamite last night. So I was just like, okay.
Good for them. AEW making smart decisions. That's what you got to do. I mean, the belt's got to mean something, and it allows time for, like, if there's less titles, it allows time for talent to be grown, to progress, to allow fans to be captivated by them and to kind of like grow with them and attach themselves to them. Because really, like, as a fan, that's what we look towards, right? It's almost like we're living vicariously through the challenger who's chasing the title. Same way how, like, in the Attitude Era, we lived vicariously through Stone Cold Steve Austin. The fact that he would give the finger to the boss and stun him, it's what we all wanted to do. We wanted to beat the crap out of our boss for being a jackass, but he got to do it for us, and so that's why we tuned in every night to see what he would do to Vince. We need that aspect in pro wrestling. We need it back. You get rid of the titles that you have. Hell, do a shakeup. Strip everybody of the belt. Create a top title for the men's, top title for the women's, mid-card titles for the men and women, tag team title. Just let everyone chase for it. Let everyone feud and create good storylines that would lead up to them eventually having that final feud match that moves them one step closer to the title, and let the stories play out. Don't just put a belt on everybody. This ain't the Oprah Winfrey channel. You get a belt. You get a belt. You get a belt.
AEW.
It doesn't work.
But yeah, I mean, I agree. I think WWE should strip down some of those belts. Have only one mid-card title for the men, one mid-card title for the women, and one tag team championship for the men and women also. I mean, women only have one tag team titles. They don't have, two separate titles on two different shows like the men do.
And it works out for them. Have you noticed that it works out for the women's tag team? Like the women tag team could jump to either show because there's always challenges. And, it makes it much more prestigious when you're defending on both shows as a champion. So you're never really given a break. So like this whole thing they talked about Cody Rhodes, just kind of bearing the pressure of being the WWE champion would have felt more real if there was only his title and he had to defend against a Raw challenger, a SmackDown challenger, and hell, throw in a curveball and every now and then throw an NXT guy up in there to challenge. Like, why not?
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, and it would have. And when they say pressure, it would have been true about pressure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, unfortunately, I don't think we're going to get that anytime soon, unless Vince buys the company back, which probably won't happen either. But you never know. It is 2025; anything could happen.
Well, unless someone like tags Paul Levesque, this live stream, and Paul, we would happily take employment to help you restructure and build and create storylines for your company. I mean. Sometimes you need an outsider's perspective that's looking inside to get the whole picture. We're those guys. We don't mind doing it.
Here, let me tag at.
Send contracts our way.
Here, let me at Triple H over here in the chat. Hey, Triple H, get over here. Come listen to us.
Why not?
We're just people that have watched, watched as long as your wrestling career has been. So it's all good.
Hey, people take a long shot at something. My brother Ruben and I remember one time when we were in our late 20s and we were like, what if we got into pro wrestling? Like, how could we get into pro wrestling without going through like the traditional way of like, going to a training school and then going, to all these different promotions and kind of building up. And I was telling my brother Ruben, I was like, well, we would be a tag team. So we would have to buy tickets to one of their show. And when something happens at that precise moment that we decide, we hop the barrier like a crazy fan, go in there,
oh my god,
attack, which is what the other crazy fans have done.
You've seen the aftermath of that, though.
I was like, and yeah, but we would have to do it in the presence of like creating this flare of charisma around us, so fans would actually think it was part of the show and not just two crazy idiots jumping the barricade. But you would have to pray for that. You just have to pray that the stars align perfectly. So then that way it would be well received by the fans and a demand by the fans for us to be in there. My brother was like, hey, let's save up some money and go to a show. But I was thinking about it. I was like, I've seen where people have jumped the barricade and got smashed in the face by Triple H's hand. So
like, the security.
Oh yeah, a lot of wrestlers
they're really beat you down, like not fake, not fake stuff, but like actual chokeholds and hits and whatnot. So I definitely wouldn't want any of that. I never thought about wanting to be a professional wrestler as a kid. I think I mostly just enjoyed watching it, but as a kid, I never wanted to like actually do it. Like I grew up with people that got into like wrestling in itself, like high school, amateur wrestling. When I was in high school, I think they had started it amateur wrestling down here. It was kind of like a new thing where we lived. So I knew like amateur wrestlers, but none of them, at least I don't think none of them that I knew actually went into like actual wrestling. You know what I mean? Like, yes, I know indie wrestler. Like I know a guy that I went to school with, college, that is in indie wrestling right now. And the guy has about the same build as me. So I'm like, oh man, like, I don't know how this guy does it. You know what I mean? But he lived down here, but I think him and his girlfriend, they moved to Las Vegas. So they're living out there now. So I know he's probably doing some sort of promotional stuff over there for the indie wrestling over there. But I'm just like, man, dude, I don't know how this guy does it. But cool thing is he went to Dustin Rhodes wrestling school. I forgot what it's called. I don't know if it was the Nightmare Factory or what, but he went to wrestling school up there.
I don't know. So like, I'll be honest with everyone that watches is watching, if they're watching, or if there's like a replay crew, but I'll share a little bit of a personal story. So like I said, huge fan of pro wrestling, and my brothers and I, we would emulate this stuff. Like, I remember, the Honolulu Police Department like literally put a curfew on me and my brothers, and we weren't allowed outside after 10. And one of the biggest reasons why was because we made our own Inferno match. Like right across the street from where we were living, there was an Asian temple, and they had a playground built on the property. And one of those little metal kind of like, it's like a dome, and you climb up it. We were like, we could have a cage match in that thing. And then so my brother Moses was like, well, I got lighter fluid. I was like, oh, so we decided to make our very own Inferno match, and we poured this stuff on the bars and lit it on fire after me and my younger brother Mikey were inside. It's amazing how many Michaels I know in life. It's crazy. But we had our Inferno match, same rules, right? First person lit on fire loses. Only we were stupid, and we really lit ourselves on fire. And then someone was watching us like wrestle and thought that we were like in this real fight with fire going around us. So they called the police, and fire truck came out, and like the cop, he always patrolled our neighborhood. So when he pulled up and he seen all of us out there, he already knew who we were by name, and he was pissed. He came storming up to us, and he was just like, "Look, I'm putting curfews on all of you. If I see you guys walking down the street after 9 o'clock at night, you're done. Like you're going to juvie. I'm gonna take your asses to juvie." And I'm like, so we got creative. We started hopping neighbors' walls when we wanted to go to the 7-Eleven down the road to get snacks. We were like going through people's backyards just to get there because he was looking for us. But we always wrestled. Like Ruben's mom had to give up her deposit on her apartment because Moses speared me through her bedroom door. Like we were wrestling Thanksgiving Day, and what was it? Ruben tried to do the elbow drop. He climbed on the dinner table that had the food already set up, and the table tipped. So like all the food fell as he jumped to like elbow drop me, and then Moses speared me through the door. The door like cracked in half and smashed in. And when Ruben's mom came back, and she was pissed. Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, well, we did a lot of wrestling. Power bombed on carpet, pavement. Like we laid out carpet over the sidewalk, and I got power bombed on it and had all the air knocked out of my lungs.
Like, I mean, I remember like, as kids, we would wrestle in the backyard with our neighbors also and stuff like that. But I don't think we ever went to the extreme of, setting each other on fire. Although I think we would mess around with fireworks during the holidays, but not like, I don't know. It was weird. We would have like wars. We would throw like the black cats at each other and or shoot bottle rockets at each other, depending on, whose parents were not paying attention, I guess. So it's like we were lucky that, I don't know. I mean, our parents were very lenient is all I'm going to say as a kid, man. And let's just say I did burn my hand a couple of times as a kid. With fire. I think fire was like I think everyone when they're young, they have like some sort of asphyxiation with fire. I don't know about today's generation, but when I was young, I did. Like I like starting fires. I like making fires. Like, Yeah, so.
I did too. I got in trouble so many times for setting up
luckily like nothing ever happened to the point where like, it was a dangerous thing where, my house or my neighbors' houses were like, in danger. We were always like very careful. We always had like the water hose ready just in case like something did go down, you know what I mean? So we were just like, okay, like let's make sure, let's have our asses covered first before anything happens. I think I remember one time something like went into one of our neighbors' backyard, but like I said, luckily we had the water hose and we just like sprayed it down, really quick because I mean, of course, no one wants to get in trouble. No one wants to get arrested for arson over here.
Yeah, but hey, man, I do gotta cut out because I gotta go grab lunch for my wife at work. She's about to go to lunch.
No worries, no worries. We've been on more than an hour. So again, thanks everyone that have been watching the live. Smash that like button if you guys are replay crew. Any final words? Any final words for you before you take off?
Yeah, subscribe, people. Damn it. Don't message, don't DM me like, hey, when are you and Mike gonna do a wrestling podcast? Just subscribe and turn on notifications. It will tell you. Notifications are working on YouTube now. They are. Yes.
I got notified on my phone, so there's no excuses now. So we're I think 81 subscribers going right now. So of course, any
let's get to 100.
Anytime you want to clip something and upload it on here, just do it, man. You don't have to ask. Just post anything up you want as well.
Yeah, well, if we hit 100 subscribers, I will try to see if I can get one of my friends back in Hawaii to take the actual wrestling tape that me and my brothers made and pull it off and make it into a digital file, and I will upload it to the channel for people to see how stupid we were.
Wow, well, I hope
we gotta hit 100.
We're almost there. We're about 18 or 19 subscribers away. So again, Tito, thanks again for joining in this afternoon. Thanks, shout out to the final boss also, by the way.
Yeah, even though he bailed on us to do OnlyFans, but hey, you know what? Can't judge a man. He's got to make a living.
Kids. I got you.
All right, man. Peace to everybody. Y'all be safe out there.
Get some rest.